Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about options in learning 3D. Um, I've gotten a number of questions on that, and I thought this would be a good time to talk about it. So let's go. Um, Here are the things you need to think about when you're planning your learning 3D strategy. How much can you spend for software and classes? What do you want to create? Do you want to create sims? Do you want to create sculptures or things of that nature? Do you want to create animation? And so you have to think about that because different tools of strength are in different areas. What is your goal? Do you want to make it? Are you planning for a career? Are you coming out of high school and I want to do 3D as my career? Are you someone who already is in a career but you want to do this for fun? Different strategies. And what are your own strengths or weaknesses? You may want to look at things differently if you're, very technical or a programmer versus if you're really autistic and don't really enjoy the technical aspects. Because some software is more demanding technically and some software is more artist friendly. So here are some options that I'm familiar with. Probably Blender least because I don't use it that much. But Unreal Engine, and it can do tons of stuff. It's free. I think they only charge if you start really making money. You can make games, you can make videos, you can make live events, you can do even some simulations. Cinema 4D. It's very common in the industry. 3D video, stills, simulations. You can do a lot of stuff with it. And you can get very technical, but you don't have to. But it costs. It's depending on what option you get. It's $800 to $1,000. If you go with Maxon One, it's actually $1,200. But we're going to talk about that. Blender, again, it's free. It has a lot of similarities to Cinema 4D. It's not as much in use commercially, reason being that because it's a freeware, it doesn't have support and all these other things that you get with a commercial product. But still, it's an excellent product and certainly excellent to learn on. Houdini. Houdini is very simulation focused. You can do any kind of simulations. One of the reasons I'm doing the fish tank project in more Houdini is because I could not get a good water sim out of Cinema 4D. Now, that being said, if I was a big Cinema 4D user in terms of commercially, it may be worth it for me to spend. I think it's several $100s a year for something like X Particles, which I believe can add that capability. But Houdini will do any kind of simulation you can imagine or even not imagine. ZBrush. ZBrush's focus is on sculpting. It's great for making all kinds of sculpts or models. You can do hard surface modeling, you can do sculpting, whatever it is, whatever thing you need for what you're trying to imagine, you can do it in ZBrush when you get to the requisite skill level, which I am not at this point. Okay, so there are a lot of ways to learn. These are just some examples. YouTube. It's free, but it's usually not structured. And there's no formal support. You can obviously ask questions in the comments, and hopefully the creator will answer you, or sometimes on a live stream they will do question and answer. Company sites, also for the most part free. Maxon and SideFX are very good at that. Maxon has their own training team. It's constantly doing videos, live streams, anything and everything that you might need to learn about Maxon. Some of their things are more structured. For example, they'll have series on YouTube or on their site on particular topics, like learning to use Redshift, like rigging, things of that nature. Patreon. Now, this is sort of, some creators will have things set up so you can get access to things like their files or special videos or Q&A sessions or things of that nature at different levels of patronage. For example, Chris Smith provides some of his files for $20 a month patrons. Udemy. Udemy has classes of various prices, but the key is for Udemy is getting things on their sales, which they have frequently. And in many cases, you can get some amazing courses at less than $20 a month. That's $20. That's wrong. We'll have to fix that. Skillshare. Skillshare is $99 a year for any classes. You don't have to buy them separately. You just pay the fee, and you can watch any of the classes. LearnSquare, that's where the class I'm currently working through is on. They do have a Discord to get some support, and they're very. I'm enjoying this class because he starts really with all the details of how particles work before going into using the actual, particle formal tools in Houdini. Their classes are more pricey. Sometimes you can get them as low as $50 up to over, $200, depending on what the class is. Now you're getting into the more pricey options, but the more structured options and more formal options. School of Motion. They have 2 guided classes on cinema, basic and intermediate, and I've taken both. They are intense, but you will get feedback on every assignment. And if you put set yourself to it and say, I'm going to work every assignment, I'm going to turn something in, I'm going to turn in 100% of the work, you will learn a lot because you have to do it and you will get feedback. If you're doing something that's messed up, the instructor will tell you that, the TA. The instructor himself, EJ, doesn't really get too much into looking at actual students' work. His stuff is, he mainly made the content, and he will have some involvement during the semester, but he's not, the TAs are the ones looking at your work and giving you the feedback. But that's the point, you get feedback from someone in the industry, someone who does this stuff. And that's what you're paying, $600, $1,200 for. It's for that. And finally, in terms of formality, you have art school itself. They can be tens of thousands of dollars a year, but what do they give you? Well, you have an in-person learning environment. You have networking, so you're with a whole group of people who are all trying to get in the industry. The industry knows where you are, so they're looking for you. That can be an advantage. Most schools, colleges, universities, art schools, they do have, they work with the industry to place their graduates because if they want to get more people to come in, they have to show that they can place their graduates. And every school obviously has different systems of doing that. Now, obviously, this isn't comprehensive. Some of these classes are quite good. You pay up for support. If you want to take a class where you're going to get regular feedback, that's going to cost you more than, you're not going to get that free. That's going to cost more than, just buying a class for $20 on Udemy. But even there, sometimes you will get feedback. Depends on the instructor. Sometimes they're very good. I took a class on After Effects, and the instructor was very good at giving feedback if you turned stuff in, if you posted stuff up. When I took MoGraph.com, which has a class, I took their class on Houdini, and when I had questions, I'd go to their Discord or their Slack, whichever it was at that time, and the instructor was on there, and he would answer questions. They also have a means within their classes. I should mention with Unreal Engine, School of Motion just added, they do have self-paced classes. their cinematography-based Cinema 4D class was originally guided, is now at your own pace, so they cut the price. Unreal Engine, again, is an at your own pace. It's done by Winbush and Jonathan Winbush, and people who know Unreal and know cinema know who Jonathan Winbush. He's very well known in the industry. He has very charismatic, so great person to learn Unreal Engine. He also has an older class on MoGraph.com. That was the first class he did. But anyway, these are examples of ways you can learn. Personally, I'm not a big thing with books for this type of stuff. Reason being is books get out of date real quick. And you have to be actually, even with classes, like Udemy, every class on there says this was updated, last updated here. So you can look at it and you can know, okay, this class is, 3 years old. Well, maybe that's not the class I want. Although sometimes it doesn't matter so much. The Learn Squared class I'm going through, I think that was done on Houdini 16. We're now on 19.5. But there's still a lot of valuable information on that, because some aspects of these programs don't change that quickly. Sometimes they add new features and new aspects to it, like all the scene-based stuff in cinema. In Houdini, they have a brand new system for fluids. So if you want to learn those things, you have to be aware that you're going to need an up-to-date information. That may be an up-to-date course. That may mean a YouTube video. That may mean something on their site. So all of this depends on what your goals are, what your resources are, and so on. So there is no one answer. So what to do? Decide which software you want to learn on. A lot of it carries over. I said a lot of the stuff you're going to learn in Blender will carry over to Cinema. Once you pick a software, then determine your approach. How much can you spend? Are you a college-bound high school senior? Perhaps going to art school and getting a degree makes sense. Do you need a structure to get the training done? Do you need someone saying, I need, this is due on such and such a date, and I'm going to be, and if you get it in here, well, School of Motion, it's more soft deadlines, but, if you get your stuff in by X date, you can be on,
It's pretty important because it controls the intensity of
they'll go over
the reflection.
It on their weekly
the roughness seems to contribute, right? So if I have low roughness, we have this high spec thing. So like if this was a character with hair and it wasn't on top of this character and we weren't trying to make it fluffy, I would say shading feels pretty successful, especially when it's dark.
You gotta get your fingers on the keyboard.
Now if I bring the roughness up, it becomes more matte. Right, but past a certain point, it just starts to get darker.
Do the stuff.
The other thing with the hair is like if you don't light it, it looks very strange. So if I kill
just
this lighting,
hands on the software,
it doesn't. It's actually okay right now when it's brown.
Even if
let's say I come back.
Going through class
do a couple
stuff,
undos.
I find one of
also sometimes when you do a lot of undos, you'll break everything. But let's see if I can get it back. Okay, so now I have them back. This light blonde, it looks pretty metallic.
The problem is you start focusing more on exactly what the instructor's doing.
If I kill the lighting
versus what's
on
concept,
him,
what are they trying to teach?
Like what is that?
And I know
it's so reflective.
That's something to be aware of.
It's something very strange. I don't understand the shading.
I remember, when I was in college,
it's so different than when it's brown. It looks like metal. It looks like metal, right? Right. Like why? Why is it doing that? And I tried all kinds of things.
I cannot read
kill our lighting.
A math.
Well, it just doesn't even make
that's just not going to work
sense, right? Like, why would it be that reflective in
is
such a dark spot of the room?
Yeah,
did
so
all
this is
the
actually,
assigned
I've killed a lot of the lighting here.
problems that the
So you
professor
know.
assigned to us. And then to prepare
The
for
lighting
the
has
test,
actually come from the
I'd
window,
go
which
and
is the
work some
material.
more
It's
problems.
very
I'd find
emissive.
from the ones
You
that
see,
weren't assigned.
it's responding how I
and
think
I'd
it
look
would
at the book
respond
to see, okay, how do we
to his
do
body,
this?
not to his
And
hair.
then
There is no
go through
HDR. I
and
killed the
translate that to
direction
what
of
I was
light.
trying to do.
I've killed all the lights, and I'm like,
That's the
why
way I
is this
program.
so
I mean,
reflective?
You know,
I just don't understand its
I'm
behavior,
lost
and it only
without-
really behaves
without
this way when the
you
hair
know,
is very light.
what is it,
I'm not an
Stack
expert in
Overflow,
this,
or these
obvious,
websites that
because if I was, I'd
developers
figure out what I would
information
know
on,
how to fix this.
examples and answer
But I
questions
do
on
understand.
how to do whatever it is they're trying to do.
I do
You
understand.
understand
So
how it should look.
these are
Yes, I
these
do
are
understand
things to be
something, right?
aware
I'm
of,
not like
these are
a
things to
total
look
noob
at,
to 3D or anything like that.
and
So
hopefully,
physically,
this will give you
it's
an
just not
idea
working out.
For those
If
of you
our
trying to
hair
get started,
was darker,
of
it would
what-
work.
and how
So
and where and
this is the
what
best I could get it.
to do
and
to get.
it's just
to
very
get
odd,
moving on
right? And again, if I
3D
kill the
and
lights,
start learning it.
it turns very
So,
metallic.
thank you
and
for
it's particularly
watching,
when it's
and I will
blonde.
speak to you next time.
And
Take
again,
care.
a lot of these other parameters don't